Hi guys, thanks for showing up. I really like this format. I hope it works for you because to do the video reviews, this takes a lot of time off my hand to cover them all at once versus doing the video reviews, edit them, and putting them out. Either way, I'm here to help you guys. I'm doing the best I can, but I really do like the lives and having a bit more interaction that way. I just got back from Australia. Felipe and I got back. Claudia is still there, so the three of us went over. It was a great trip. Saw koalas. Really had a lot of nice time with private lessons, and I'm sure people are continuing to post about how their kids do. One of the new things that I've started to do is sort of like I take a lesson of the day kind of thing, and I'm reviewing it, clearing my head, as you say, and also for you guys to start seeing a bit more of the thought processing that I'm putting out. I would say that I'm getting a bit more detailed in things because of the laser course. The laser course is dropping on the 18th. Probably some of my biggest labors. I've had a nice team of people involved, but we've got books, we've got workbooks, we've got step-by-step instructional videos on the skeleton, on a human, with the lasers, with the, so we're covering so much information. And speaking of, I've got about 11 kids I've got to do right now, so we are going to go in. So, Monica, thank you again for waiting. I know yours has been a bit. What I'm looking for in vision, and people look at vision as just acuity, but I look at functional vision because my eyes work well. If my body can't direct my vision to scan, to have binocular, to have convergence, to be able to look at something close and then far away, these are things that need to be worked with. So one of the things that's going on is there's a glitch somewhere in the peripheral vision. Now, this is not, quote, patching, unless your doctor says patching. What I'd like you to do is patch each eye and then just do a little functional assessment. I have a feeling there's a bit of a visual gap in one of the eyes, so the other eye is getting just a bit too dominant, and you get that tunnel vision. And so everything is going here. What happens usually with the eyes, or what should be going on, is a child's like, hi, and they scan and they think about things. Their eyes not only wander, but they work the room. They're like little, they don't miss a trick. And so there's something going on here, and I'm picking on my right eye, it could be either eye, where that peripheral vision is just not as strong as I'd like it to be. And I really think if you work with his vision and help with that would help with some of his fine and gross motor skills, especially his balance and his convergence. Ash. So same thing with the vision. Now, there needs to be worked on definitely with the vision. The esotropia is definitely there. I don't know if it's intermittent or not, but it is definitely there. So when a child does not have binocular vision, meaning two eyes working together, and convergence, meaning I'm looking at you right now, so my two eyes are working together, but they're converging at my camera, right, when I talk to you. But if I'm now looking again like this, I'm not looking at the camera, I'm not looking at anything, I'm not converging, right? So but what happens when an eye comes in, the convergence is activated and it sort of almost sets at a point. So what I just sort of was mentioning with Monica's review, same thing too, is that ability to have a peripheral vision really gets inhibited because the eye wants to come in, the eye's coming in, it can't go out, but that lack of convergence, meaning for me to converge to here, also gives me lack of depth perception. It is very difficult to go onto my bigger gross motor skills when my eyes want to fix, right? So I'm running and trying to do those things and dealing with grass, and I just can't do it, and that's where you get the instability and the falling down, and what also looks in almost that pigeon toe, the knees tucking in because the eyes are tucking in, and it's taking the rest of the body, and you get that, quote, abnormal gait. But a lot of people see the gait and want to work on that. You've got to work on the vision. If the vision doesn't get helped with him, you're not going to get help with the gait. There's always a dominance within the system, and the system will take vision first. I just had a client who's legally blind. I mean, she just has really thick glasses. You don't think of blind when you're seeing glasses. She was not caught for bad vision until she was in seventh grade. And which was quite interesting, she said, I didn't know the floor had texture. I didn't know there was texture on the grass. I didn't know things were smooth or rough. No wonder I was having such a hard time. It wasn't just playing ball and things like that. Just my walking was horrific because I just did not see those subtleties that we take for granted. And you really have to take that into consideration. If you're not getting help by your first ophthalmologist, you're going to need a second opinion. But that eye is definitely coming in, and he needs help. Angela, hi. Again, thank you for waiting. So there's a couple of things with that. So now I know you've got the delayed visual maturation, so you know the vision's a concern. But in his case, it also has to deal with the weight, not necessarily the size, but the weight of the head. People don't realize that when babies are born, they have a weight transfer this way, and then the weight transfer starts pelvis to head, so forth. So that's why you're supposed to be able to pick up a baby and they float in the air and go, all those kind of things, right? So when that mechanism within the system gets thrown off, right? Now the baby goes into a lift mode. So I get lots of comments saying, how do I help my baby lift its head? A baby never lifts his head. It's a weight transfer. Pubic bone goes down like a seesaw and the head comes up. You will never see a baby lift their head like this. You and I can do those things, but not an infant. So what is happening more so is he's lifting his head with his eyes, and you can try this. So if I just do here, see how my head floats around my vision? What he's doing is he's trying to lift his head with his eyes, right? Now you almost see I might look a little cross-eyed. I can't see you. So when I get here and then try and see you, that's when I get the instability because I can't look and hold my head up at the same time. And so what's also happening when you're in that mode, the spine does not cross midline and does not work on that. So you'll see a lot more of the direct 90 degrees versus that ability to go in and out. So I would start off with the head and the vision course and then go into some of the spine workings because you'll want to first lighten the head up a little bit, and this is something great that you can do even possibly while he's sleeping if it's hard to pin him down because he's a feisty little guy, and then do the spine work and chest rotation, go into those units in the course. Okay, this is for Anna, but this is also a similar topic to Sarah, Julieta, Matilda, and Yetta. So I'm going to be talking about these 5 munchkins next, but I just want you to know it's individual, but still within the same thing. We just talked about, again, heaviness of the head, right? So what happens when a child is, and this is where I'm going to go down on it's a movement day. So when a child is moving, right? So first weight transfer is here, right? And then weight transfer goes from head, and then you'll start seeing the scooting, the rolling over, and the head, the weight transfer happens. When that mechanic gets thrown off, it really starts throwing the system. Why? Because babies don't have a conscious mind, meaning they're not problem solvers, right? You even trying to make it to this great Facebook Live, you're not solving you have to sit there, am I available? Can I be there? Do I have internet connection? These are problem solving skills that a baby just doesn't have, right? They try and just respond. They're trying to touch the light. Oh, I can't get it. Well, they don't know that it's 5 feet away. And they'll try and look and, oh, I can go get the ball. And then that's when locomotion starts getting in. But when the system is off, they're not going to go like, oh, I really have to get this rolling over thing, but oh, my head. And that's really what's happening. there's a surgery involved. The surgery has to be repaired or worked on for movement. Any skull surgeries that you're going to have, and I get it, we had to save the child's life, but we really need to look at just working with the head movements. There's a lot of head work in my swallow course, which I really like, and there's a lot of head work in the head and the vision. Both would be really good courses. So what's happening, guys, with the tummy time stuff when the head is heavy, babies don't like tummy time. Why? Because tummy time should not, first of all, have a fall. A baby should never fall out of tummy time, right? They're playing. See how I'm just in between it? But I'm not falling down, right? And then two, the fall shouldn't happen like this. And then you'll start seeing this, the butt will go up. When the butt goes up, the head even goes down further. They almost feel like they're drowning. And this is really hard on their system. So those are the things you really want to work on, is first with the head work and then going after that spine and pelvis. But I'm not seeing rotation within it. The spine is going way too straight. And again, why is a straight spine? I can't get out of this position. You see it with seniors, they fall and they can't get up. But if my spine rotates, I can go anywhere I want, right? So that's what we need to initiate with the babies. Hi, Tony. I do deal with a lot with end cage. Have some cute little people around. One of the things that's very interesting about end cage is I believe the cells get hyperinflated, meaning there's too much volume of fluid in the cells. And this is where you get a sort of a shakiness. So, sorry, Betsy, we're gonna go for a ride again.
Good.
So what happens with end cage, right, is just the steadying of the system, right? And I believe, again, because the baby is setting up the system like a slosh, right? And what we have to do, or what you need to do, first of all, is that spine. The spine needs to be worked at. It really doesn't take much to start seeing a difference, but you really want to stabilize the spine as much as possible. We need to get a nervous system hit. I mean that in a positive way. Influence into the nervous system to help your child to start feeling stability. And the next stability would be in the vision. Be very careful. I know you're just sending me a video that's very, very fast. I want success with every movement this child makes, because remember, babies don't know if it's a good movement or a bad movement. They're just moving. And your child with end cage, they move a lot, right? And so we need to stabilize the system. So it's like, instead of this and trying to see you, and it's like, and you'll get that relief at first, and then they will start learning how to see and move around different movements, and that's what you're after. Hi, Rachel. So my concerns are the vision in the left eye, convergence and binocular vision. I want to strengthen that. What I'm seeing is when she's doing her talking, and be interesting because that's also the same leg affected, you're seeing even a flutter when it needs to go to peripheral. I can't do flutters. So flutters, some people see it as a nystagmus. I'm not seeing it as a nystagmus. I think it's muscle fatigue. So I would really have her vision doing, but the peripheral vision, that ability to go here to here, needs to be strengthened. Again, that's my counter. The depth perception, all of that is an issue, because if I don't have depth perception, I'm just not going to have a good gait. You and I, we can just close our eyes and try and walk. It just doesn't work that way. Our bodies will try and protect our systems. So I think a lot of the reasons why her gait is affected is because her vision is just not as strong as it could be. Again, the cutie might be fine, but I'm really concerned about the function of their vision, especially if she can do visual arcs. Visual arcs happen when I can go from here, I look up to you, and back down again. So my eyes naturally arc. When I come to sitting, right, and move around. So we have arcs here, 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 so it goes from the four corners or peripheral, but we should have to be able to have a visual arc. And I would think that would be difficult for her, and it's affecting her gait and her walking, and that's where I would go after with that. Hi, Sarah. You've got your hands full. Very similar again, heavy head, but in your Munchkin's case, I'd really go after that lower pelvis, right? The biggest area that I'm seeing where I would go after first is the pubic bone strike, but more so the ability to cross the midline and the lower pelvis. So that's where you're seeing these kind of movements, but again, see how I can't rotate my spine, right? Versus if my spine crosses midline, right? And I can do up and overs and those kind of movements, which also get me into where I can come back up and sit up again, right? So I would really go, there's a good unit on Tummy Time, pubic bone strike. I would start with that. That's where I would go after. The next I would go after is that head. Head's a little bit on the small side, so I would have to imagine that laying down, and I have other videos on this, proportionally, he's not at his ears, he goes up just a little bit. Just me going up a little bit makes it, I don't see my body. And so this is where, when I'm rolling over, my head goes down, again, because of the head size, and then I lose my vision on my attention and my movements. So that would be my second area of movement that I'd be working with. Julieta, thank you. So I'm going to try and get this somehow translated into Spanish with you. That's what I've been working on. I know your little guy's been going through a lot. So sort of what I was just saying in the last video. So the vision has been unsuccessful, but also the head size has been unsuccessful for his system. So he's really trying to move his body around his head. And it's a lot of work for him, and it's exhausting. It shows how smart he is because he's working so hard trying to do it. I really have some nice little courses. Really, you want to get in with just this detailed head work. Just detailed head work. He just needs to know, more so too, that he can float his eyes, right? The eyes were ulcerated. So just the strain and the vision, you see, it's like, he hasn't settled from it. It's like here. And so we really, now you can do this when he's sleeping, but you really want to get in there with a movement lesson in the head. But now watch how I slowly am going from midline. So my eyes are here and to here, right? Almost like there's little boats in the water. You can even there's my free course on the newborn assessment and just the water bowl technique, just on the head. It really, but the head and vision course would be your best bet as far as the touch and just learning the gentleness. But we need to, every movement of his head almost hurts, just because the eyes have not settled. It's like, the eyes just want to go instead of here where my eyes can go with you. And that's where I would really help him first. And then I would go after that spine and pelvis with that to help the movements in his lower body to counter the sides of the head and the weight of the head. But right now, it's not that he's in pain, but he does not know how to move comfortably. And that's the first thing that I would go after with him. Hi, Matilda. And I might have made a mistake, and I apologize. I think I mentioned with Anna a skull surgery, and I meant Matilda, so I apologize. But we have 11 kiddos today, so again, I'm sorry about that. So I hope you're watching the whole thing. So when you're dealing with, and I might have missed up both kids. I'm sorry. I'm going through, like I said, very similar to what was going on that I've just said about the last couple of kids of settling the head size. When you've had an interruption of skull growth, we really need to go in there with detailed movements to help the child skull move again. Now, in your case though, you have one eye that's coming in. So I just tagged you right before Facebook Live on rolling over, let's say, and the eye turning in. But so you have the interruption of the skull growth plus the eye turning in. So basically, again, same thing. We want to go back in, and the first thing you want to do is just a sensation of the eyes crossing midline, but not necessarily through an external, right? They need to feel that movement. Rotation comes through our head, and they need to feel that kind of movement. This is where you're getting a lot of happy boy, but then frustrated boy, because he's going into it, and then because he's really trying to work as hard as he can, and it's really interrupting his other milestones, because he hasn't had any successful transitioning milestones. And this is why I'm really big adamant about trying to go back to rolling over. I know you want your child to sit up, but he doesn't have the connection of the head vision and through the spine. And so people are looking at his muscles and they're trying to get him, quote, stronger. That's only going to mess with his development. You really want to go after not the strength, but the weight transfer, the ability to transition in and out of the movement, right? I can talk to you and I can just transition right now to my belly and then come back up again, right? That's what we're after with our munchkins. Static pose is not development. They need to know they can get in and out of it. And if they don't feel that they can get out of it, they prevent going into it. So that's the conversation where we want to go at. Hi, Nita. Yes, I know you're going through a lot, and I know it's really rough. So I hope that you're seeing what's going on. At 14 weeks, yes, we should have had rolling over by now. You really want to start with a newborn assessment. Go after that spine. There's a spine, and basically what I've been saying about the head and the vision. The eyes coming in. Doctors are not going to worry about a 3-month-old because they're saying that the eye needs to learn how to focus better. They're young, they're babies. Definitely keep an eye on it. I don't agree with that opinion that they're giving, but I can see where the frustration is. But you will want to stimulate as much as you can. I've got great little vision courses, free videos on how to stimulate. Please watch your use of black and white. I don't believe in it. It's there to stimulate, but not use. Work with an object with them. You want to go after that spine and pelvis. That's the spine is not moving, and really. The lack of movement, the baby is not going to wake up tomorrow and say, I should have been rolling over. You know, they want to, but they just can't respond to it, and that's what's going on. So from the newborn assessment, definitely going after the baby basics again, free videos, and work on the spine first and try and kick in the vision a bit. Thanks. Hi, Getta. I know for you the video wasn't posted, and I've been so neglectful. So a lot of the conversation that I've been saying about the head is just really goes for your little guy. However, more so the proportions. So when you have the head shape and the glasses, right? Again, remember your proportions for your eyes should be here. So when I go to sit up, you know I'm right there to go do it. Just a micro movement from here to here, you know what I mean? Now I don't have it. There's just, I can't do it. And I also think the weight of the glasses might have to do with that. So he's so clever, he's learning really well how to roll around in that way. But again, I'm not seeing my body. So just the differentiation of here. So that head and vision course, but I mean, you know all that stuff, but definitely if we can work on that he feels that rotation through the head, through the occipital, going through, especially through those parietal in relationship to the temporals, that you really want that ability to go through and around. And then once you have a bit better location of his head weight and his head movements to hit that pelvis and try and synchronize the two up. Because right now, his vision is actually his strong point, and so he's learning to move around his vision. So instead of my pelvis doing all the work, right, everything's being going around with the vision, because that's where, but he's now learning I only move where my eyes are going, right, versus moving where my bodies are going. And so that's where we need to cut that off before it gets too dominant in this system. Okay, here. Thank you so much. Yes, vision. First of all, no binocular vision, no convergence, right? Gosh, working so hard doing that. But what's happening is, now if I were to, let's say, take my hand and converge and put it good over, right? My eye almost, like there's a string, right? And you'll see this. But when you have something like this, and people think that it's spasticity, it's really the vision. The vision can't come over and find that convergence. And so I think she's dominant probably in the right eye, and the right eye is trying to stay with the task like this, right? Versus in both my eyes. And it's very subtle, but and no peripheral vision. But really we need to look at, again, I'd get a second opinion on an ophthalmologist, but I would really like to see her patched. Again, I can't suggest that, I'm not a doctor, but at least patch her once just to see the characteristics. But I think you'll see right eyes like this, and then the left eye is just still trying to find its way, and you'll see the personalities in both eyes and what you need to work with to strengthen up the eyes. Once the eyes start working together a bit more, when you influence that, then I would work on convergence. I wouldn't go all the way to her nose, that would be very rough. You're going to want to converge, I'd say like here to here kind of thing. But right now I think you'd see this to this, and people will say that spasticity, head control. I really think it's because she's really trying to see with just the one eye being dominant, and that's where your hang up is with that. I did it! So we got 11 kiddos in. I would love your comments. Do we have anything? Good?
We're good.
Okay.
No questions?
I really appreciate that you're taking the time to help your child's free movement lesson. I have a lot of units here. Go right over here, up in the upper corner, the units. I'm sure there's a topic that can help you. I'm doing whatever I can to get instructional videos up. Some are courses, some will have to be covered with set up with courses, like laser is coming, but there's a lot of very specific work there to help you, books and workbooks and videos. But as you know, I'm available for you as much as I can, and I will see you soon. Thanks, bye.